Becky Moore is here to see you, Doctor.
Thank you, Laura. You can show her in. Why don't you let the nurse take care of the baby while we talk? Please, have a seat, Becky. As Dr. Fetter told you on the phone, he gave me all your test results. I see this stomach and back pain you complained of has been bothering you for a while now. But this is the first time you've had it checked out.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
We found something else.
Well, Dr. Fetter mentioned something about cancer. Is that what you mean?
This is an excellent meal, Mr. Garrison.
Thank you. See, steak, potatoes, Caesar salad, your 3 basic food groups.
So, Becky, you know, in all this talk we've had about your baby, we've never said anything about the boy's father. I assume that didn't quite work out between the two of you.
No.
I see. I'm sorry to hear it. That's tough. Does he keep in touch with you at all? Does he offer any kind of help, any kind of child support?
Actually, Miss Spectra, I haven't seen or heard from him since the day I told him I was pregnant.
You were pregnant with my child and you had an abortion? And you never even said a word?
I tried.
You tried?
Don't you remember the conversation we had? I asked you how you felt about having children, and you laughed. You said that not in this lifetime.
Morgan, I didn't know you were pregnant.
The point is that you said that you weren't ready for a family.
No, but a conversation like that is not relevant in this circumstance. I mean, I don't even remember it, for one. Please, you couldn't have made a decision on that based on just some flippant remark I might have said.
And you would have wanted to know?
Morgan, how can you even ask me that? Of course I would have wanted to know.
But if I had told you... what would you have done?
No, I haven't heard from Ridge. He has his hands full. The entire collection went up in flames.
Well, I know that. But I don't see that that was a reason to send Morgan over there with him. Don't you see what Brooke is doing? She knew that Ridge and Morgan had a history.
Is that what this is all about? You worried about the two of them still having feelings for one another? Yeah. Stephanie, that relationship is ancient history. They both moved on.
What I've done if I'd known you were pregnant? What difference would that make now? I mean, I didn't know. You didn't tell me. But, Morgan, how could you do that? I mean, I know you were only 17 years old, but we were so close. We were so much in love. For you to just make a decision like that, to have an abortion without even telling anyone?
Oh, I told someone.
You did? Who?
Stephanie.
You told my mother you were pregnant?
I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't know where to go.
What did she tell you?
Well, she was angry at first, of course. But then she said she would take care of everything since I was so young, and I shouldn't worry about anything. And I was so upset that I was just grateful to have anybody take care of me. And then we got on the subject of you. And I asked her, well, how am I supposed to tell Ridge about this? And she said to me, under no circumstances do you ever tell him, because he will hate you if you are pregnant. And I argued with her, and I told her, I said, listen, I have to tell him. She said, fine. Why don't you test the waters? Why don't you ask him how he feels about having a baby?
That's when we had our conversation.
Exactly.
So what did she tell you?
Well, I went back to her, heartbroken, and I told her your response, and of course she wasn't surprised. And from that moment on, I was under her control. She controlled my destiny. And she called and she made an appointment at a clinic in Hollywood. She went with me. She brought me inside. She paid for it. I wanted to back out. I wanted that baby, Rich. Even though I knew we weren't ready. She was so forceful. And I was in shock. I'll never forget that day for the rest of my life. I loved you, Rich. And I wanted that baby, our baby. And I can't even tell you how amazing it was to have a part of you growing inside of me. It was the biggest mistake of my life. And I paid for it. And that's why I left, because Stephanie, she put me on a plane after the abortion, and she sent me home. That's when my whole life became a disaster.
You never, ever felt like you could come to me after all this and tell me that this had all happened.
I should have never, ever trusted Stephanie. Rich, I'm sorry that I destroyed our dream. And I'm sorry that I destroyed our child.
So, Becky, when it comes to raising the baby, you're on your own. The father is completely out of the picture, hmm?
Actually, Miss Spectra, he was never in the picture. You have to understand that when I first met little Eric's father, I was a crazy and confused kid, and I made a mistake. I made a stupid mistake.
Oh, yeah, I guess you did.
But I've changed so much since then. I don't know. Maybe for some of us, it takes a tragedy to make us grow up. That's what happened to me. I came from a working-class home. And although I had dreams, my family didn't have any money. And they didn't have much time for me either. So I tended to turn to all the wrong places for attention. Some man would come along, and I would listen to his sweet talk.
And there's a kind of wise, smart voice inside of your head that says, be careful, lady. Don't trust him. This can be dangerous, right? But there's that other voice inside you that wants to be loved, needs to be needed. And that's the voice that's saying, oh, go ahead, take a chance. Maybe this time it'll be different.
But it never was. He was always the same as the rest of them. And then one day, I got the ultimate wake-up call. Found out I was pregnant.
And that's when everything changed.
Yeah, it did. But I'm finished with that kind of life. I am never gonna let any man take advantage of me again. I have a son to raise now. I'm gonna raise him to be a very responsible man. Whether I do it alone or with someone else. And I have a good job now. And it's one that I'm going to keep. Probably sounds silly, but one day, I'm going to be one of the most important people at Forrester Creations. Who knows? One day, I might even be running that company. Well, at least it's something to shoot for.
It is something to shoot for. But actually, Becky, it's more than that. You don't just shoot for it. You make it happen. You have to make it happen. In order to prove to yourself that you can, and to prove to all of those other people that you can do it. You may not realize it, but you and I have a lot more in common than you think. Especially when it comes to your feelings for your son. Because that's exactly the way I feel about my son.
I know you do. I'm gonna make a promise to you, Miss Spectra. If CJ doesn't graduate from college, if he doesn't become successful like you, or like how I'm going to be, it's not gonna be my fault, because I'm not gonna be around. But I have a feeling that CJ's gonna make you proud.
CJ, this girlfriend of yours, she's a real sweetheart. I think she's a keeper.
Well, I'll drink to that.
Dr. Russell, are you telling me that I have cancer?
We found something on your x-ray, Becky. At this point, I don't want to speculate. I've ordered a few more tests. Can you come in tomorrow?
What kind of tests?
A CT scan and a fine needle biopsy.
Biopsies.
It's to see if the growth is malignant. You'll go to the 3rd floor, they'll administer the test there and get the results back to me.
So you won't be there now?
But I can stop by if you want.
No, it's okay. God. No, please.
Becky, I realize how difficult this is, but let's not jump to conclusions.
Well, even if it is cancer, it doesn't mean that it's not curable, right?
No, not if it's detected early.
You think it was detected early enough?
Becky, we don't even know if it's malignant.
But you have an x-ray. You know where it is.
It appears to be in the area of the pancreas, which is rare in a woman your age. I'm hoping the CT scan tells us something different.
Wait, hoping? Why? If it is in the pancreas, what does that mean?
Let's just wait for the results of the biopsy, okay?
Doctor, if this growth does turn out to be pancreatic cancer, what happens next?
If it is cancer, it's very serious.
but it will survive. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna die.
First of all, as I said, it's rare for someone your age. And it says in your chart, you're not a smoker.
That's right.
Well, that's a primary risk factor for pancreatic cancer. So if I were you, I would go home and try to get some sleep and come in tomorrow for the test. This could just be a cyst or some other benign growth.
Doctor, if it does turn out to be pancreatic cancer, how many people get it each year? I mean, what happens to them?
There's about 27,000 people diagnosed with pancreatic cancer each year.
How many die of it?
About 26,000.
I really wish you could have told me.
So do I.
But my mother wouldn't let you.
Who are you calling?
Hello?
Mother, it's me. I just had a rather long conversation with Morgan. She told me everything, Mother. Every ugly detail of what you did to her.
Ridge, listen.
No, you listen to me. That you could tell a 17-year-old girl who was pregnant with my child to get an abortion and keep it from me for all these years?
Why don't you come home and we'll talk this all out?
No, I'm gonna stay right here with Morgan, actually. We've got a job to do, and we're gonna finish it. And then we'll come home. And I promise you, Mother, when we do, you and I aren't gonna discuss this at all. In fact, you'll be damn lucky if I ever talk to you again.
I never would have thought tonight could have turned out so great.
Yeah, it was pretty successful.
God, you were incredible, Becky.
I'm in love.
Well, you know what?
What?
So am I.
CJ, I don't think I've ever been happier in my entire life than I am right now. You know what?